All right, what's up, Hot Sports listeners? We are back, but unfortunately, I'm gonna be by myself. And bad news is, I'll probably be on my own for the next couple of weeks. I want to give a shout out to Compa Manny. Remember, this episode is sponsored to you by our friends of OCMG, back Compa Juancho in the background and the cameras, and also our friends of Stay Beautiful Chicago. Remember, this is Hot Sports Podcast, and this is
Hot Sports Podcast.
Alright, let's get it. Get over it. Alright, what's up, guys? We are back. We are actually episode 18, actually. We did 17 on the Facebook Live. Uh, Juancho was on vacation in Colombia. I know he had a good time in Colombia. Hopefully one day we could all go to Colombia as the boys trips, and we could probably vlog it. Maybe an episode out there. Maybe a couple episodes with some special guests. But we did week 17, episode 17, week 1 on the Facebook Live. We did it, me and Manny. It was a quick, I don't know, I think it was about 25, 30 minutes long. It's not much if you guys want to check out the week 1 results. We broke down each game from the 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and obviously the Sunday Night Football. So we're gonna be doing this all NFL season long. We're gonna be breaking down all the games. We're gonna talk about any special players that that did a marvelous job. We're also gonna talk about players that also did bad on the game day, and we're also gonna switch it up. We're gonna try our best to release all these episodes by like Wednesday or Thursday. That way you can once Monday we talk about the results of the previous week. We'll try to drop it. Well, we're gonna try our best to do that. And also, if you guys want to check us out on Facebook, me personally, I do more of the work on Facebook. I'm over here giving the updates of players that are out. Any people that are out there love to play fantasy football. I'll give out like any injury reports, any players that are gonna be out for Sunday. Also for Thursday, you guys gotta there's all because we have football Thursday, Sunday, and Mondays, and obviously there's a double header today. We got the Browns and the Steelers, and we got Carolina and the Saints going at it live right now. But yeah, I try to do my best, especially on the Facebook, Instagram. Also, I've been more active on the Instagram. Just like overall, I said I'm just gonna give out player updates, some highlights of whatever's going on during the week, Monday through Friday. Sundays, check out the Instagram and Facebook posts around from 12 to like I would say like 10. I'm gonna be blowing up like everybody's Instagram stories and updates and whatever's going on, final scores and all that. But it's pretty fun because it's funny because I have a little like funny pun to each game, so watch out for those funny puns. Any funny captions I put, that's I don't know how I get these funny like like funny comments or whatever funny titles to each game, but it's pretty fun. I have a big imagination, and yeah, I mean, I'm just using my brain to its best. And right now, it's football season, baby. We are in week 2 football. We're gonna start in order, but we're gonna do the Bears and the Packers games first, and then we'll go on through the rest of the NFL season, rest of the NFL games that happened yesterday. So, Packers Falcons yesterday. Obviously, the Packers lost 25-24. The Packers had a good start in the beginning. Jordan Love is him. So any Bears fans that were talking shit to me all summer long, like Jordan Love this, Jordan Love that, well, we proved it to you guys week 1, and I was there week 1 at Soldier Field, which was a pretty good, it was a marvelous experience. I've never been to Soldier Field. I got to see Jordan Love, his first technically his first NFL career start as a starter. Not without Rodgers no more. Rodgers been there for 15 years. But yeah, fortunately we lost 25-24. It was actually a pretty good game. I was during the 12 o'clock games. I usually there's this I stream these games. It's called I stream it on NFL Red Zone. If anyone wants the link to where I watch all my games at on Sundays, and occasionally like I watch a couple games on baseball, a couple UFC. If anyone wants the link to that to the stream, so you can watch all the games, whatever games you want. I believe in that stream they have like baseball, they have basketball when basketball season starts. I don't know if hockey. I'm not a really big hockey guy, but I believe hockey's in there. Soccer, there's no soccer, which sucks. So I usually just like try to watch, or just keep on. I'll watch it on ESPN, or if it's on TV, I'll just catch the game if anything. But yeah, if anyone wants the link to that stream, just send me a quick message like, hey, do you know it's stream? I'm like, I got you. I'll just watch out for those viruses because I ran one time I went into some XXX videos and I got a virus. I thought I was gonna get a free iPhone, but unfortunately my iPhone got hacked. That was a couple years ago, and I learned my lesson. So back to the game, Packers Falcons. Jordan Love, he had 151 yards, 3 touchdowns. I would say he did a pretty good job. He's doing a pretty good job as a starter. Like I said, the Packers had a good amount lead. They were up 24. They were up about 24-12 at one point, and the defense just couldn't bear on with the Falcons' offense. Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson is a rookie that came. That's his. Obviously, he's a rookie. He had 124 yards, which the Packers have always have history of. They can't stop the run. They just cannot stop the run. It's I don't know if it's the players or it's the defensive coordinator, but it's getting pretty bad that the running game for the opposite team is just pounding the rock over and over and over. And actually, I've already seen like Instagram posts and Facebook posts and fire Joe Barry already, because he's the one that he should have been fired about 2 years ago. But obviously, like right now, the Packers are in they're in a rebuild mode. Obviously, with Jordan Love coming in, replacing Rodgers. He also said he's not trying to replace Aaron Rodgers. He's just trying to be him. But obviously, all the media attention is on him for this whole season, especially. But overall, I believe the Packers are actually proving the haters wrong right now. But like I said, the defense choked it at the end. I mean, at the end of the day, Jordan Love, he's not at that position to. He's not at the position. Well, he's not at that time yet. It's not the position. Like, how can I say it? Like Jordan Love's not ready to be like in the 1 minute mark in the fourth quarter. He's got to bring the ball down and save the Packers, just like how Rodgers was doing throughout those years. When the defense was lacking, he had to carry that weight. And obviously the Packers don't want to do that to Love, because now they're going to be relying on Jordan Love all the time. I mean, overall, it was a pretty good game. I got pretty pissed off. Like, we had a big lead, and then we lost it at the end. Shout out to Younghoe Koo. That's actually a real name. He's an Asian kicker for the Atlanta Falcons. He had 4 field goals. Obviously, those 4 field goals turned into 12 points. And those 12 points really cost us at the end because, we lost. We lost by 1 point. And then, quick fact, Desmond Ridder, the quarterback from the Atlanta Falcons, he is actually undefeated at home in his college and NFL career. He's 26-0 in college, only at home though, and he's currently 4-0 in his NFL career. So, any people that wanna like bet next time the Falcons are at home, well, there you go. Maybe the Falcons will pull it off, and Desmond Ridder will still be undefeated at home. But yeah, I mean, next week Packers got the Saints. First Packers home game. Obviously at the end when I'm done with reviewing all the week 2 highlights, I'm gonna do a little brief predictions about week 3. But overall, we should be good. I mean, we're 1-1. I actually expected 2-0. We would have been really proving the haters, but it's just week 2. We still got we got to till end of January to catch up those games. But shout out Falcons. They are actually 2-0 in the NFC South. And then we're gonna talk about a little bit about the Bears. I know I wrote a couple notes. Yeah, Justin Fields is not him. Justin Fields is not him. Sorry, Bears fans. I'm not really trying to talk like mad shit about Justin Fields or the Bears, but it's just Justin Fields is not him. And I've been knowing because the Bears quarterbacks are just recycled. Every 2-3 years they change quarterbacks. If it's not quarterbacks, it's the coaches. Not the coaches, it's the coordinators. It's just a big recycling. It's just a repeat over and over and over. Bears lost, actually, and it was pretty tough. It was an ugly. It was at first it looked good. Justin Fields did look good in the first quarter and a half, going to second quarter, but after halftime, that's just when the offense just could not do anything. They're over here throwing screen passes. The Bucs defense was figuring out their plays. Stuff like that. The Bears right now are in a complete mess. There's been a lot of fans out there that want Justin Fields out, or they're gonna try and tank to get Caleb Williams, one of the college quarterbacks of USC. I mean, I don't know. You can't really it is Justin Fields' third year in his career. You should expect for him to throw deep bombs. He really can't. He'll throw you a deep bomb here and there, but it's not really he won't do it constantly. So that's the problem about Justin Fields. He just won't let it rip. It's hurting them actually because the Bears are in a 12-game losing streak since last October. Since I believe they had their last win was a Monday Night Football game. It was the Bears and Patriots. I remember that game. It's so cool how I remember some of these games, but it's actually funny because I don't remember some important dates like birthdays of friends and shit like that, but I can remember each game and what day it actually happened. That's actually something interesting about me. But yeah, the Bears are on a 12-game losing streak since October, possibly a 13-game losing streak by next week because the Bears got to go to Kansas City. Week 3, Bears might be looking at 0-3. Overall, Justin Fields had an okay game. He had 211 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He threw a pick six at the end of in the fourth quarter. When they wanted to drive in, but if you can't really you can't win those type of games if you're over here throwing interceptions, especially pick sixes. That's actually his second pick six in a row that he throws. The first one was the pick six he threw to Quay Walker in week 1. I saw that live, and then yesterday he threw that to the Buccaneers right there at the 5-yard line. But Baker Mayfield, holy crap. I did not really expect Baker Mayfield to go off like that, especially it's only week 2, but everybody was doubting the Buccaneers. Tom Brady was there, how the Bucs going to do. Overall the Buccaneers offense, overall the Buccaneers team was everybody stayed, but obviously Tom Brady left, a couple players left, this and that, a lot of players were following just Tom Brady. But overall the offense looks good, defense looks good too. Mike Evans, he had 171 yards and 1 touchdown. That's some good stats from Mike Evans, especially he's actually going to his 9th or 10th career, his 9th or 10th career year, and he's always been put up over 1,000 yards. So maybe he will get another 1,000 yards this season. But another quick fun fact about the Bears: Justin Fields, he has a career of 5-22, possibly going to 5-23. So that's 5 wins as a Chicago Bear, and he has about 23 losses coming up, which is not pretty good, especially for Bears fans. I'm not a Bears fan. I don't really know how to feel about that, but maybe eventually I will. once Jordan Love starts, losing like that. But like I said, we're fine. We've only had 3 starting quarterbacks in the past 30 years. The Bears have had, I lost count. I lost count after 13 quarterbacks. So there you have it with the Bears. I really don't got much to say. I think just Chicago should just, I don't know. They should just go. They should go. They should go to Nashville, just like the Chicago White Sox. Just get out of the city, because I know the fans are getting pretty disappointed about Justin Fields. All right, so after we do our Bears Packers talks, we're gonna talk about each game now. So 12 o'clock games. We're gonna start off with the Raiders and Bills. Just overall dominance from the Bills, Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills. They were breaking tables over there in Buffalo. The final score was 38-10. Jimmy G had 185 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Like I said, the only touchdown that was there for the Raiders was a Devontae Adams catch. And then after that, just the Raiders were just complete shit. And then that's when the Bills, I believe, with that Bills week 1 against the Jets on Monday Night Football, when they went to overtime and Josh Allen just had enough of those overtime losses. I had a feeling like the Bills, when they were down 7-0 to the Raiders, they probably all talked to themselves in the sidelines like, are we seriously losing to the Raiders at our own home? So they just came in and just like dominated the Raiders, which was a must-need win. I would say, at least for confidence for the Bills fans, and especially the Buffalo Bills organization, that they're like, yeah, we cannot be losing to the Raiders 7-0. So they turn on the Jets. They put up 38 after that, and they just went into the win. Josh Allen, he had a better game other than last week. He had 274 yards and 3 touchdowns. The one disappointing player in that game was Josh Jacobs, the running back. He was actually the NFL's rushing leader, and he had a bad game. He had -2 yards. And I think he's probably the first guy in history to win the NFL's rushing leader and then just throw like a complete shit game and just have -2 yards. But like I said, the Raiders, they just came in and scored that touchdown, and that's all they wrote. The Raiders couldn't do anything. But then Devontae Adams, he actually left with a concussion. He was the only one who caught the touchdown. But overall, Bills dominance. I mean, Bills really needed that win to build their confidence. Other than that, I think the Bills should be okay. The Bills should be okay throughout the whole season. But like I said, they are Super Bowl favorites. They're favorites to win the Super Bowl. But, they got to go through Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. And also the Ravens and the Bengals, they look pretty scary. But talking about the Ravens and Bengals, we'll go on with them. Ravens and Bengals, final score was 27-24. Pretty disappointing about the Bengals. This is the second consecutive year that they start 0-2. And then for some reason, they start 0-2 and they just like turn on the Jets and start winning, go on a big winning streak. I believe last year they went 0-2 also. And then they went on a 14-game winning streak or 13-game winning streak. And then they went on to the AFC, I believe, championship last year. And then, they lost. They lost to Patrick Mahomes. But I mean, overall, the Ravens were actually dominating this game the first half. And then the Bengals just started to catch up on them. And then, they couldn't get the win. Jamar Chase was nowhere to be found. Joe Burrow, he only had maybe 68 yards in the first quarter or first half, I believe. And then they turned on the Jets second half. Lamar Jackson, he was looking pretty good. He was actually throwing some deep balls to OBJ and Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews was back also. He had over 237 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Joe Burrow actually had 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he had a pick. But the Ravens were a better overall team. Like I said, they they got Mark Andrews back. Zay Flowers, the rookie, he's actually looking pretty nice. Unfortunately, OBJ, he left. I believe it was an ankle sprain. I believe that I read this morning, but I'm not really surprised about Odell because he's very injury prone, and the amount of money that they paid for him just this season, just it was a 1 year contract. I believe it was about $7 to $10 million, which is like he basically robbed the damn Baltimore Ravens on that. But also, uh, just a shocker. Justin Tucker missed a 50, I believe it was a 56-yard field goal. He usually makes those like easy, like easy as pie, but he missed it. Some people were saying, is he getting too old? Is he losing his groove? But maybe you never know. Maybe he's getting too old. But that's the Baltimore Ravens overall kicker. Let me move this right here. The light's bothering me, so I can't read the notes. So then we're going on with the Chiefs and the Jags. It's actually that was an ugly score. It was 17-9. Overall, they had both teams' defenses were just going at it. There was interceptions. There was a couple fumbles that were out there. But then also Travis Kelce was back. He actually hurt his knee on training camp 2 days before Week 1, the Week 1 Thursday night home opener to start off the NFL season. He got back. He got a touchdown. And also Chris Jones, the defensive tackle for the Chiefs, he's actually back because he was actually trying to hold on for the rest of the season until he wanted to get paid. And obviously you got to pay the man if he's doing the work. He's one of the best defensive tackles out there in the NFL, so he deserves to get paid. I mean, if you want to keep a caliber person, like a caliber player like that, you got to pay the man. You got to pay the man. But yeah, overall, that was an ugly game. Patrick Mahomes had 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Trevor Lawrence had 216 yards, but no touchdowns. Obviously, it was just a field goal game for the Jags. We are not jagging off with the Jaguars this weekend, so no jagging off this week with the Jags. And then Christian Kirk, he had 110 yards, but like I said, the Jaguars couldn't get anything going on offense. They couldn't, once they were at the red zone. Obviously, the Chiefs were stopping them at the red zone. And yeah, I mean, I personally had the Jaguars because I felt like, it was the revenge AFC divisional game from last year when the Jags were trying to make it a battle against the Chiefs. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs just tore them apart in the last year in the fourth quarter. And also, I know we try to keep it as sports talk and everything, but I just gotta talk about it. Travis Kelce and the rumors about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift that supposedly they're quietly dating. I don't know what quietly dating is if the whole world knows now. So I don't think it's quietly. But I actually listened to their podcast with his brother Jason Kelce. If you guys want to check that out, they usually drop their episodes on Wednesdays. I forgot. I think it was called Gritty Heights, I believe. I'm not really sure what's the name of the Kelce's brothers podcast, but he had actually, I believe Taylor Swift went to a concert in Kansas City, and supposedly Travis Kelce was there. He said he had made her a bracelet, but the bracelet had his number on it, and he tried to give it to her. From what he said, that he tried giving it to her, but Taylor Swift wasn't really going for it, or I guess she was I guess she couldn't talk to him. I guess she saves her voice for the next concert because she's on a road trip right now all over America. I mean, my boy shoot his shot, and he hit that. So supposedly they're quietly dating. We don't really know. It's funny because now all the ESPN, all the Good Morning America shows, that's the topic right now. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. But honestly, I cannot wait. I don't. Every time I see a couple, I wish them the best, but not this couple because I want to see what Taylor Swift songs for her next album. Maybe maybe about what is it about breakups, about romance. This Taylor Swift album is gonna be good. Oh, it's actually New Heights with Jason and Travis Kelce. New Heights. So you guys want to check that out on Apple Podcasts? That's one of the few podcasts I hear during the week. This is mostly where I get my gambling tips, and also talk about football. Just during work, I usually just put on my headphones, start listening to the podcast. That's also, and also they were the ones that kind of motivated me to do this. So thanks to them. Now I'm giving it to you guys. Hopefully one day we can be at those top levels with the gang, with Manny and Juancho. Hopefully in a couple years we'll be up there. Yee. But yeah, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Hopefully the Swifties. I hear the Taylor Swift fans are pretty ruthless. They're pretty rough out there. So actually Travis Kelce is representing the boys out there in the NFL. So if you're hearing this, Travis, don't break that girl's heart. Don't break her heart. Hold that door for her all the time. Make sure that you're walking on the street, on the on the sidewalk. You got to be standing on the street side. She's got to be on this side. So treat her right, Travis. You're representing the boys in the NFL. But let's get on with Chargers Titans. That was a pretty interesting game. It was 27-24, but they went to overtime. Actually, I'm pretty disappointed about the Chargers. This is like the second. This is like actually a quick fun fact. They have lost 5 games when leading more than 10 points. And then obviously the most famous one was when the Jags and Chargers game, and in the wild card game when the Chargers were up, I believe 20-0 at one point, and then they lost the lead, and Chargers lost. Couple highlights, player highlights from that game. Ryan Tannehill, he had 246 yards, 1 touchdown. King Henry, he had 80 yards, 1 touchdown. Solid performance from Derrick Henry. And it's actually funny because how this past weekend was la Dia de la Bandera for Mexico. So Derrick Henry, each week these NFL players always have nice fits, or weird fits sometimes. There's some weird ones that have been walking in. But Derrick Henry, shout out Derrick Henry. He actually dressed up as a mariachi. It was actually pretty cool. I believe I shared that on Facebook or on Instagram where Derrick Henry dressed up as a mariachi. He looked actually pretty good for a Moreno. He I don't know where he found that mariachi suit, but shout out Derrick Henry. He's over here representing the Mexicans this weekend. But yeah, like I was saying, the Chargers were up 11-0 at one point, and they lost the lead. But yeah, I mean, I believe that Brandon Staley should just get fired at this point. This is, like I said, this is the 5 games that they've had 11 or more, 11-point lead or more, and then they just lose it. I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Chargers, but the Chargers are not charging, and they lost their juice last night, and now they're 0-2, which actually had them winning the AFC West. It's not looking pretty good for the Chargers at this point. And then the Titans, they went 1-1. Like I said, Justin Herbert, he had 305 yards, 2 touchdowns. Keenan Allen, he had 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. But overall, I mean, the Chargers were missing Austin Eckler. That's their best running guy. He usually averages about 100 yards, a couple touchdowns. So, I mean, I guess you can say the Chargers were missing an important piece. But, I mean, overall, if you're up 11 or more and you blow the lead for some goddamn reason, you got to be looking at your players, your coach. Somebody has to be blamed. But overall, this is a team. So the team overall has to be blamed. But yeah, Chargers Titans. That was That was an interesting overtime. Nick Folk had he hit the game winner, had a 41-yarder. Titans win. Just move on. It's only week 2 at this point. Another overtime thriller we had is Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions. The score for that one was 37-31. It was actually a fun over. That was actually a fun game. I was actually keeping track with that game yesterday, along with the Packers game. Geno Smith, he had a pretty good game, especially bounced back from last week. He had 328 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Jared Goff on the other side, he had 323 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. It was basically a game of hot potato. They were just going back and forth. Both offenses were going back and forth. But at the end of the day, Seattle won on that OT thriller. Tyler Lockett caught that touchdown. And then it was funny because one of the Lions players, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he was hyping up this Lions. He was hyping up the Lions fans, to wear like blue ski masks. And at one point, there was so many like orders of blue ski masks that Amazon even did a public announcement. I think it even reached the news at one point that they ran out of blue ski masks for some reason. That they just ran out of blue ski masks, and Amazon didn't have no more blue ski masks. And I don't know what was the point of the whole ski mask situation, but it actually backfired on them because one of the Seahawks players, I think they somehow found a blue ski mask around, and they just took it, and they were at the end of the game in the locker room. There's a video going on where all the Seahawks players are all celebrating, and obviously making fun of the Lions with a blue ski mask. So I mean, like I said, it's the NFL. There's going to be a lot of shit talking, a lot of humor going around. Players between players, they like going at it each other. It's a rough physical game. Everybody wants to win, nobody wants to lose. Especially you don't want to lose at home. But if you do something like that, you expect something to get backfired. But yeah, it was a pretty good game. Lions 1-1, Seahawks 1-1, which is pretty good for the Packers because the Packers and the Lions are actually in first place, and then last place are the Vikings and the Bears. I mean, overall, the NFC North should be pretty interesting throughout the middle of the season, maybe end of the season. So but it's funny because everybody from NFC North lost. Bears lost to the Bucks, Falcons beat the Packers, Seahawks beat the Lions, and then the Eagles beat the Vikings. So overall, I'm really not that mad that the Packers lost because we're just right there. Plus it's only week 2, so I'm not really worried about where we stand right now. We just got to keep the momentum going. Then we go on to the next 12 o'clock game. Colts-Texans. Colts won actually that one, 31-20. Colts are 1-1. The Texans, not really shocking that they're 0-2, especially with a rookie quarterback, C.J. Stroud. He was a number 2 pick for this NFL season. And Anthony Richardson, he is looking pretty nice for the Colts quarterback. But unfortunately, after his second touchdown run, I guess he got way too excited and he actually pulled something, I believe from his thigh or his I think he pulled something in his thigh that he had to leave. So he left in the second quarter. So then Gardner Minshew came in, which is I honestly forgot that Gardner Minshew was still in the league. But he's a nice backup to have in your organization, and luckily the Colts have him. Anthony Richardson ran for 2 touchdowns. Obviously, he got hurt. Minshew came in and saved the day. I mean, the Texans really don't have much going on right now. They don't really have weapons on the wide receivers. They don't really have a good running back. Their offensive line is pretty fucking trash at one point. And then C.J. Stroud, it's his rookie. It's a rookie in his second week of the NFL. Of his NFL career, so you don't really expect much from C.J. Stroud. But he did put up some good numbers. He put up 384 yards, 2 touchdowns. But like I said, the Colts were a better team. Anthony Richardson ran for 2. And then yeah, they didn't. I don't really have much to say about the Colts and Texans. That's more of like a Texans are more of like the bottom tier of teams, along with the Bears. You know, they're down there. But I believe at the throughout the season, it's going to be the Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts going at it. Who's going to win the division? Who's going to get in? I feel that the Colts might put up a fight in the middle of the season with the Jags in that AFC South division, but I still believe the Jaguars are still going to be jagging off with the in the AFC South. So we'll see. And obviously, I already talked about the Bucks and the Bears. And then we're going to go on with the Giants. I mean, holy crap. That Giants and Cardinals game had me like nervous because I had put on a betting slip where I had all my 12 o'clock games had hit, but now we go into the 3:30 games. And at one point, the Giants were down 20-0 in the at halftime. But at one point, the Giants were being the laughing stock at the 3 o'clock games because, as you remember, the Giants lost 40-0 on Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys. You know, that was embarrassing loss that they had in New York, especially with the weekend of 9/11, then Rodgers going down. You know, all that crap. You know, the New York had New York City in general had so much sadness, and then it was just sadness after sadness after sadness. So the Giants, I guess I don't know what type of drugs, I don't know what type of motivation they did in the locker room, but coming in the second half, they came back. They came back and actually won 38-28. But like that game was fucking wild. That and there was actually two comebacks on Sunday. Giants was one of them. I honestly did not expect the Giants to come back and win that because I actually had a personal bet on my own. Like I said, Daniel Jones, he threw for 321 yards, 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, he had 63 yards, 1 touchdown. But unfortunately, at the end of the game, I believe there was only maybe I really want to say like 3-4 minutes left. Saquon Barkley, he got hurt. He needed to get helped off from the medical staff, and breaking. And also, I had already shared this Monday around maybe noon or 2ish or 2 o'clock. I had posted on the Facebook page and an Instagram page that Saquon Barkley is going to be out for about 3 to 4 weeks. So all them fantasy managers that have Saquon Barkley, you're gonna have to start looking for a running back or at least someone to help you out for the next 4 weeks. I unfortunately lost Aaron Jones, which is the Packers running back. I didn't have no running back this fantasy week, so I feel it. I feel looking out for some running backs, that can possibly give you a couple points. Obviously, it's not going to give you them 12, 15 points that they give you. But overall, at halftime, funny but weird fun fact: the Giants had been outscored 60-0 in the first 6 quarters of week one and half a week in week two, going into halftime. So, like I said, I don't know what type of motivation. Maybe that motivated them to come back and fucking come back on the Cardinals. But also the Cardinals don't really have much going on right now. They got Joshua Dobbs, I believe, the quarterback for the Cardinals, and obviously Kyle Murray is going to be sidelined for the rest of the year. I honestly don't know what's going to go on with Kyle Murray. They're actually their franchise quarterback that they've had for about 4, 5, 6 seasons, I believe. So I think they're going to be trying to tank on purpose to get Caleb Williams from USC. But I mean, I don't know. The Cardinals are just weird. Their head coach is weird. He be giving some corny game speeches before during the week, during preseason. The Cardinals are just a mess. I honestly believe the Cardinals might go 0-6, 0-17 actually. But I don't know who's gonna be the worst team: the Bears, the Cardinals, or the Texans. I don't know. It's gonna be one of those three. They're gonna be in the bottom. I actually feel that the Bears might be it, just because I hate the Bears. But the Cardinals are just worse, and the team they're going against next week is just. You might as well just like skip to week 4 because week 3 is gonna be a slaughterhouse for a couple teams. But yeah, like I said, they Giants came in the second half, shut up the haters, pulled off a win. It was a rusty win, but if you take a win, now you got to go into week 3 with more confidence. But unfortunately for the Giants, their week 3 is this Thursday coming up in today's Monday, so about 3 days. They lost Saquon Barkley for 3 to 4 weeks, so they play against the Niners. So, I mean, I'll talk about that right now once I'm done with all the NFL games, and I'll go into like little brief details about predictions and who's gonna be out, who's gonna be starting. But yeah, the next game was 49ers Rams. 49ers won 30-23. 49ers go up 2-0 in the season. Rams are 1-1. What a fucking game from Christian McCaffrey. 116 yards and a touchdown. Boy, that motherfucker can run the damn ball. He is a fucking freight train coming right at you. But Jesus, that boy can run. And good thing he's getting paid I think he's getting paid $12 million a year. So, he deserves those really $12 million because he's really running the rock for the Niners. Brock Purdy, obviously you guys know him as Mr. Relevant. He had 208 yards. Matthew Stafford, he had 307 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. I'm gonna do my best to pronounce his name because he's a rookie. He just came. He's new to the league. His name is Puka Nacua, if I'm saying it right. Puka Nacua. It sounds weird. I think he's Hawaiian. I'm not really sure. Puka Nacua. That's a pretty funny name. He's actually going off. He has 147 yards, and then last week he had about a $150. So he's getting pretty out there. He's trying to put his name out there. Obviously, you're a rookie, trying to put your name out there, and this is the perfect time to put your name out there, especially with a quarterback like that, with like Matthew Stafford. It was a good, intense game from both sides, but obviously the 49ers overall, they were just a better team, smarter team. And at one point, they were just triple teaming Aaron Donald, which Aaron Donald is like one of the best defensive tackles, along with Chris Jones. You got T.J. Watt. You got also the new Roquan Smith. All these good defensive linemen and defensive tackles. But Aaron Donald, he is one scary ass motherfucker. That's for sure. Because you don't want a 20 to 25 mile per hour 300 pounder coming right at you. But it was a good thing that the Niners were smart about that triple teaming Aaron Donald. Overall, like it's been for the past 2-3 years, ever since the Rams moved to LA, the attendance over there was majority 49ers fans. I mean, I honestly don't know who are actually real true Rams fans, especially when they won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? I believe it was 3 years ago. Oh well, it was that. I believe it was during the COVID year. I believe it was 2020 when they. Oh no, it was right before COVID had started. But yeah, the attendance was majority 49ers, and I know not many people know about gambling, just like how I do. I mean, I'm not a big expert about gambling, but the overall spread there. So each week, teams are either favorites or underdogs. They usually put them at 3 points, 4 points, but those points in the gambling world are basically saying, like, let's just say, for an example, Bears Packers. The the Packers are favorite to win by more than 3 points. So that's why when you see it in the gambling world, it says -3. So obviously, so you're confident that the Packers are going to win by more than 3 points. So that's what an overall spread is. And then on the opposite side, as for the underdog, they're going to be plus 3 points. So if you take the Packers -3, that's basically saying that they're going to win by 3 or more. But if you have it for the Bears, if you try to bet on the Bears, +3 is basically saying they're gonna lose, but they're not gonna lose by more than 3 points. So basically, you have like a 3 point. You have like an imaginary 3 points, um, in the gambling world. So let's just say uh, the score is 30-28, and you had +3 on the Bears. You win because obviously 28 plus 3 is 31. So you technically won 31-30, even though the score was 28-30. But you chose the +3 for the Bears. That's just a little like pretty example, pretty self-explanatory example how the spread works. So the spread for this game was 7. It was just 7 overall, and the game ended 30-23, exactly at 7. And it was funny because Sean McVay, the coach for the LA Rams, he only had like 4 or 5 seconds left, and he was at the 30, 40-yard field goal, at the 40-yard yarder. And instead of like just taking the loss 30-20, he actually like kicked the field goal and then covered the spread. That's basically saying because of the before the game had started, the Rams were +7. So like I said before, you have those free 7 points to play with. So if the spread was 7 and the final score of last night's game was 30-23, so they basically you break even. It's basically a push. So basically you just get your money back at that point if that happens, or unless you have 7.5 points plus 7.5. So that 0.5 can either hurt you or they can favor you. So whoever had 7.5, LA Rams, you guys got lucky because Sean McVay, he looked out for the boys last night and he covered that spread, which there's there's rumors, there's speculations out there that these players and coaches know, maybe they probably give insider tips to their families, friends. Hey, spread is this. I'm gonna try and keep it close, see if we can win a couple bucks, stuff like that. I mean, those are probably just conspiracy theories, or you never know. You never know. There's a lot of sneaky gamblers out there. They're in the system of the sports world, so they get a little. They know about all this Vegas spreads and shit like that. At the end of the day, they know they're not supposed to be doing that, especially since the players and coaches cannot be gambling on their own teams or on their own team. Because I believe last year Calvin Ridley, he's a former Falcons, now plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He got caught gambling on. It's funny because he got caught gambling because he was gambling on his own. Or against his team or favoring for his team, but he got caught obviously because when you sign up for gambling, they ask for your social security, and then eventually, if you start winning huge amounts, you're gonna start owing taxes, I believe, for gambling. If you hit a big jackpot or something like that, I don't really know because I think the most I've won is probably $600-700 at one point. I believe it was last year I won $600-700 off a nice $25 parlay, which is pretty good. But I'm actually trying to break even right now. Have a slip right now that I'm eager to check my phone, see if it won or not, because this week was a pretty good week for my gambling. But yeah, then we go on to the next game, Jets Cowboys. Cowboys are actually pretty I'm not shocked, but I am surprised that the Cowboys are 2-0. And then overall Jets, I mean, they lost 30-10 to the Cowboys. I really don't have nothing to say about the Jets right now because the Jets are just they're just I really don't know. The Jets are just falling apart ever since last week's Monday Night Football game. Aaron Rodgers went down. Unfortunately, you know, that's my boy right there. Woo. Rodgers went down. He tore his Achilles. If you don't know what the Achilles is, it's where your leg's at, and it's like a Achilles tendon that connects the knee to the foot, and he basically it ruptured. It like and you there's actually a video out there how when he's like when he's sliding his foot on the turf, you actually can see the tendon just snap in half, which is a pretty ugly injury because it takes you out for the whole season. You got to take about 8 to 10 months of recovery time. You got to get surgery right away because if you wait on it too long, it could like get infected or shit even worse. Probably won't have a leg at one point. But yeah, the Jets are not looking so good right now. They got Zach Wilson at quarterback. They weren't really. Him and the Jets organization were not prepared for the Zach Wilson to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. I mean, at this point, the Jets are just gonna have to say, like, they're gonna have to say how many holy Marys and mothers of gods, whatever they got to do to win a game with Zach Wilson, but it's not looking pretty good. And the Cowboys defense is just fucking. They're just ripping apart teams right now, especially Michael Parsons. They could maybe be Super Bowl contenders, but I don't know. It's the Cowboys. It's funny making fun of the Cowboys because they're very hyped up in the summer. Just like I believe one of our episodes we showed like the cycle with the Cowboys. They're actually right here where they're Super Bowl contenders, and eventually they're just gonna follow the same old Cowboy circle. So, I'm just waiting for them. I'm just waiting for that downfall for the Cowboys. But they got an easy game next week, so they'll probably be going 3-0. So who knows? Who knows how the Cowboys are gonna be this season? But right now they've been whooping that New York ass. They whooped the Giants 40-0, and now they beat the Jets, both the New York Jets 30-10. That's about 70 points for both New York teams, which is pretty fucking awesome. And then we got 2 more games to cover up. Another comeback thriller. The Commanders 2-0. Nobody expected the Commanders to be 2-0 right now, especially with the quarterback they have and the receiver that they have, especially with Terry McLaurin not being 100%. But overall, the Commanders' defense was picking up the pace last week and this week too. They came back and beat the Broncos 35-33. They were down at one point, 21-11, and the Broncos choked it at the end. After the Cowboys Jets game, they went the CBS turned to the Commanders Broncos game because it was getting interesting at the end. Russell Wilson had thrown like a 60 or 70 yarder Hail Mary. It's funny because it bounced off like 4 different players, and then it just bounced off somebody's helmet or somebody's arm, I believe. And luckily there was one dude catching it at the end zone, and that put them up 33. But they still needed to put the 2-point conversion, but to send it to overtime. But unfortunately, they didn't get it. Which it's pretty funny because it's funny seeing Russell Wilson losing like that because the caliber of quarterback he was a good caliber quarterback when he won the Super Bowl. But ever since he lost that Super Bowl against the Patriots, that one Super Bowl where he threw the pass instead of running at the 1 yard line when it got intercepted. I believe ever since that's when Russell Wilson's career just went down and down and down, and now it's pretty gonna be reaching all the way to the bottom, especially after losing the Commanders. Uh, I really don't have much to say about the Broncos. They're just a big laughing stock at this point, especially Sean Payton. Actually, Sean Payton he was the New Orleans coach when Drew Brees was there. He actually won a Super Bowl over there. He stepped back from coaching for about, I want to say, like a good 4 years, about 3 to 4 years. He came back. He was talking shit about the former Broncos coach, and and he was not really being that. He wasn't being humble as a as a veteran coach as he should be. He was talking shit about the previous Broncos head coach Nathaniel Hackett, saying that Nathaniel Hackett was pretty trash. He didn't know what he was doing, you know, this and that. It's just it was basically like a low blow to another coach. When you're coaches, you don't really low blow another coach. That's pretty low, especially for Sean Payton, especially the history and the type of coach he is. He really should have been doing that, but it bit him in the ass because they were comparing the stats of Nathaniel Hackett his first 2 games, his first 3 games. I'm sorry, his first 3 games, and he went 2-1, and Sean Payton's 0-2, and he was talking all that shit in the summer, and now he's looking at 0-2, which it backfired on him. But yeah, and then it's funny because I started this little like thing with Jesus. I just want a quick shout out Jesus from 24K. Shout out, no free shout out for 24K promotions out there. I had texted Jesus Saturday night because I was bored at my gigs, so I was just looking at the gambling world, how what was the lines. Well, I was doing all this like just to like pass time. So I hit up Jesus around like 6-7 p.m. and I told him like, hey bro, you want to bet tomorrow? And he's like, sure, what game? And I told him like, Commanders Broncos, give me the Commanders. I got him at the upset. And unfortunately, after that, he did not answer back. He didn't even open it. And yeah, because I got left delivered because I hit him up on Snapchat. And when I saw that the Broncos were down, I was like, damn, like I should have never like I was thinking to myself like, damn, like I'm lucky that Jesus didn't like answer because the Broncos were down. But when I was watching the Giants and the Cardinals game along with the Cowboys and Jets game, that's when I was seeing that the Commanders were coming back and back and back. Ended up winning 35-33. And then I called him. I was blowing up his phone. I was texting him. I told him, bro, I told you the Commanders were going to win. Like, I told him, you're so freaking lucky that you didn't say, okay, how much are we going to wager? And then he texted me. He's like, bro, he's like, fucking Russell Wilson messed up my parlay. I could have won $500. I told him, bro, I told you so. But usually each week, I like looking at like potential matchups that that teams that you think that they don't have a chance against a good team. There's always that 1 or 2 teams each week that you think like, no, this team is not gonna beat this team. And unfortunately, sometimes they get lucky and they do beat the team, and that's how Vegas gets you, and that's how the gambling world gets you, because you believe that each week that the favorites are gonna win all the time, but you just gotta catch them slip up 1 week, and boom, you can possibly make $20 into $100, or $100 to $1,000, depending how much you can afford. Obviously you gotta bet responsibly. Don't be over here wasting your rent on the gambling world, because that can bite you in the ass. But I'm gonna see during the week, maybe around like Friday, Saturday, see which game I like. I'll probably hit up Jesus again, seeing how much we want to wager. We usually wager around like 100, $200. Last year, I believe I beat him two times, but he beat me in the Super Bowl. So we kind of broke even on that perspective. But I was willing to bet 200 to 300 on the Commanders. And I know listeners out there, people are like, what the heck? Like, why would you put so much money on the Commanders? It's just that feeling. I know it's like, okay, like the the Broncos are are freaking they're freaking no, they suck. Russell Wilson's not him. I believe the Commanders can make it an interesting game, but like I said, they were down. They were down pretty big. They were down 21-11 at one point, and I had, you know what, screw it. I guess I was wrong, but no, the Commanders proved me wrong at the end and came back and win. It was pretty intense game. And then last game, Sunday Night Football. It was Dolphins and Patriots. Dolphins won 24-17. Dolphins go up 2-0, and Patriots go 0-2. I mean, at this point, just overall dominance about the Miami Dolphins, especially with that dynamic duo with Tua and Tyreek Hill. Because, those boys, they're putting up video game numbers. Like, I'm talking about insane numbers, especially week one, when Tua had 466 yards and like 4 touchdowns, I believe. And Tyreek Hill had like 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. They're just putting up video game numbers at this point. Obviously, that wasn't actually like they kind of notched it down a little bit. But I mean, Tua had a pretty good game. He had 249 yards, 1 touchdown. Raheem Mostert, the running back for the Dolphins, he had an awesome game. He had 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. Those 2 touchdowns came from Raheem Mostert, and then 1 touchdown came from Tyreek Hill. And then at the end of the day, I believe after the half, that's when the Dolphins were kind of like, were like kind of stepping back and just having defense. That's because eventually the Patriots were down 17-10 at one point at halftime. Oh no, yeah, 17-10 at one point at halftime. The Patriots were gonna try and like creep up and maybe take the win, but I mean, at the end of the day, like the Dolphins have the better defense, they have the better players. Obviously Mac Jones, he had an okay game. He had 231 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. And then at the end, as I was watching that game with my brothers, at the end of the game, they were trying to march down the field because it was only a one-score game. It was 24-17, which is the final score. I think they had like around 45 seconds, 50 seconds until the game had ended, and they were really marching down the field. And then at one point, I think Mac Jones had just thrown it. I forgot who he threw it to, but then he tried to lateral. The ball. Just a quick, how can you call it? Quick explanation what a lateral is. So a lateral play is obviously when the player is going forward, but you have to throw it backwards, it has to be at least 5 yards backwards, and you could pass it to the next player, and then it's basically a game of hot potato. So if you get like open field, you can run it, and if you see like people coming at you, you can just lateral back to another player that you possibly think that are wide open. I've seen some interesting lateral plays that eventually turn to touchdowns. And they win the game. But yeah, I mean, the Dolphins are 2-0. I did not think the Dolphins were going to be 2-0. I actually thought the Jets were going to be 2-0 with Rodgers, but Rodgers is out. He's out for the season. And then the Buffalo Bills, they're 1-1. Like I said, like everybody thinks that all these favorite teams are gonna be like favorites again the following year. Well, like I said, it's a new year, new season. Players are, man, these players are more motivated. Maybe they've hit the gym. Maybe, I don't know. You just can't expect the favorites to win week by week and be dominant for years and years and years. They're gonna slip up eventually. And, there's gonna be those little teams that you think that don't have chances, and they're gonna rise up. And obviously the ones who are shocking the world right now are the Commanders, the Cowboys. The Commanders are undefeated. The Cowboys are undefeated. The Dolphins are undefeated. The Baltimore is also undefeated, 2-0. Atlanta's 2-0, and I believe that is. Oh, the 49ers are also 2-0. The Buccaneers are also 2-0. I didn't expect the Buccaneers to be 2-0. And I believe that's the only on the Ravens. Oh, I said Ravens. Yep. So about 6, 7 teams are still 2-0. I mean, obviously, it's not really to panic right now. It's only week 2. You should, if you're a fan base, and you're in week 8, week 9, and you only have like 3, 4 wins, then yeah, I would suggest you hit the panic button. Start realizing that you're not gonna make the playoffs this year, or maybe you can sneak into the wild card, and hopefully some team slips up, because like I say, like, you don't really know a team is gonna be good or not until like week 8, week 9. That's when you start to know, like, okay, is my team good enough to make the playoffs, to compete against the big boys, just like like, for example, the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Bills, uh, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Vikings, the Packers, the Niners, just examples like that. So you start to learn about week 8, week 9, where you're really at in the season. If you're just gonna be just fighting for draft picks, if you're gonna be fighting for the draft order, because obviously the draft order works. The lowest teams get the highest seed, and the higher teams, like the winning record teams, they get a higher draft order seed. So it's like, it all depends what you're trying to. What are you looking at? You're trying to like rebuild your team, or you're trying to win. You're trying to win the Super Bowl. I mean, every team is different. Obviously, right now, the favorites to win a Super Bowl, obviously, the Bills, the Chiefs. Chiefs are always favorite. The Bengals, Niners, Cowboys. Those are just examples of teams that are projected to win it. Each season, all these analysts saying that, oh yeah, like Niners might win it this year, or the Chiefs are gonna win it this year. But like I said, each year is different. It's not really, you can't really tell who's gonna be in the Super Bowl this year, which is gonna be pretty exciting, because the Super Bowl is gonna be in Vegas this year. So hopefully, like one day in a couple years, we'll be out there at the Super Bowl, which will be pretty fucking cool. And yeah, that's week 2. Week 2 week 2 analysis, just breaking down each week. Unfortunately, Manny's going to be out for a couple weeks. He had some personal issues he had to take care of, so I'm going to do my best to find someone to cover me. I do have someone to help me cover, a good friend of mine. But if not, if he can't make it, then I'll be doing most of the talking, and then you'll be seeing me probably alone for the next couple weeks. Well, I mean, it's all good, because I'm ready for the job. Hopefully I get a little pay raise from OCMG, since I'm going to be doing all the heavy lifting.
You got it.
But yeah, since it's football season, I want to be talking about more football, overall football. Baseball is about on their way of finishing the season. Just quick shout out to all the teams that have already clinched their divisions. The LA Dodgers, they won the West and NL West. Tampa Bay also, the Tampa Bay Rays also clinched the playoffs. The Baltimore Ravens have. Oh no, sorry, the Baltimore Orioles have already clinched, and there's like throughout these, there's only like 12, 13 games left in the season. So they're gonna start like clinching their playoffs, and they're gonna start getting ready for the postseason in October. Well, that's where all the fun starts because all the top tier teams of the MLB are gonna be going at it to see who goes to the World Series. And then just a quick recap about the Cubs. I'm very disappointed in you, Jake. Very, very disappointed in you, especially you and the Cubs. They've been pretty playing like shit these past couple of weeks. These past couple 2 weeks. They've actually not been pretty good. And then on the flip side, I kind of want to say it like I guess they got cocky about a week ago that the Cubs were already selling playoff tickets, and when the playoff, we haven't even secured the playoff spot, and the Cubs organization was already selling tickets for the postseason. It's like, what are you guys doing? We're not even secured yet. They thought they were so confident they're gonna make the playoffs. Now we're in danger to be losing that last playoff spot because I believe it's 3 teams that go on to the wild card game. And right now, how we've been looking like pretty like dog shit. I think we're on a 5-game losing streak right now. I think they're back tomorrow, Tuesday, here at Wrigley against the Pirates. I mean, if we can't even, if at this point, if we're gonna be like playing like shit, we should not go to the playoffs, because if we're just gonna be embarrassed in the playoffs at this point. And if they are gonna grow some balls and actually try and win, then they gotta come and start swinging the bats. But we haven't even I think we've only been averaging like 3 to 4 runs for the past couple week and a half. I think you're not gonna be beating teams like the Braves, the Dodgers, the Phillies with just 3-4 runs. No, you gotta be putting up 8-9 runs, because like on their teams they have big power hitters, and if you're only gonna be putting 4 runs, you should just not go to the playoffs and just save us the embarrassment, because this whole city with sports is just being embarrassed. First of all, with the White Sox, they're complete dog crap. They're actually, and it's funny because now the White Sox are selling their tickets for $1. If anyone wants to catch a cheap, if anyone wants to pick up their quarters from under the sofa and want to go to the Sox game, there you go. You could go watch the Sox for $1 now. And then the Bears, they're going on a 12-game losing streak since October. That's another Chicago team that's pretty bad. The Bulls aren't making no trades for higher players, so they're probably projected to be bad. That's another Chicago team that's bad. And the Chicago Blackhawks, they just lost most of their players that they won the Stanley Cup playoffs these past 8 seasons with Jonathan Toews. And, all these players are all leaving. They're getting old. They're starting to rebuild. So Blackhawks may be looking at a bad season too. And then who else do you have? Oh, and then the Cubs. The Cubs are just disappointing at this point. So I don't know what's going on with Chicago sports teams in this city, but they gotta start. One of these teams have to cover for the rest of the teams, because at this point no Chicago team is doing anything at all. And this obviously the only team I go for in Chicago is the Cubs. So I don't really care about the rest of the teams. I can care less. But the Cubs, I really do care about the Cubs, and I want to see another World Series win, just like how we did in 2016. But yeah, that's all I got for baseball. And then we'll be going on with week 3 predictions, and after 3 weeks, we'll go with the pet peeves. And unfortunately, I can't do lottery ball. Well, I can't be doing lottery ball because I'm just gonna be playing by myself.
Like you always do?
Yeah. Whoa, pause. Whoa, pause. I didn't mean it like that. Unless Jakey wants to pull a number, but that's gonna be pretty weird, me talking to a doll. But we'll do week 3 predictions, pet peeves, and we'll be shouting out a couple of our sponsor friends that we out there, and then we'll be finishing this episode. Week 3 predictions. This Thursday night we got Giants and 49ers. My overall before I start going into my predictions for the next week, I'm gonna do my very best to not be biased and not just pick favorites. I'm gonna break down a little bit how I see it on both sides, and I'm just gonna give my overall opinion. Obviously, any listeners listening to this, don't take this as financial advice, saying like, oh, like Javi said that the Bears are gonna lose or Bears are gonna win this week. Like, no, like this is just my overall opinion. I'm not here to give financial advice to anybody. Just wanna remind everybody before you guys start gambling or placing bets. I'm just here for my overall opinion, what I think. But like I said, this is just, don't be taking it as financial advice, because I don't want to have like 30 motherfuckers at my house saying like, hey, you owe me some money because you said on your podcast. I'm like, no. That was just my own opinion. But we'll be going on with Thursday Night Football, starting off with the Giants and Niners. Niners home game, first home game. Like how the Niners been playing, I say the Niners blow out the Giants. Giants have no Saquon Barkley. Giants really don't have that wide receiver core. It's just going to be Daniel Jones just be throwing it probably Darren Waller at this point. But I see the 49ers winning I would say about 7-10 points maybe. Like I said, don't be taking this as financial advice. This is just my own opinion. And then we'll be going out the 12 o'clock games, Saints-Packers. Obviously, I'm a big Packers fan. I'm always going to be rooting for the Packers. But if I see a game that the Packers, that I think that it won't win, I'll be in the podcast, I'll be like, saying like, yeah, they're not going to win. But, I'm a big fan of the Packers, so I know that I always want to see them win. The Saints go to Green Bay. It's going to be Jordan Love's first home game as a NFL starter. So that should be pretty good. I know all the media is going to be on the attention in Green Bay this week, since Jordan Love's going to be debuting at home. But it's the Saints. I feel like we can probably sneak in a win, go up to 2-1. I mean, I do. What sucks about the Packers is that we have a couple players that are injured, and it's going to be tough because now we're going to have to rely on the rookies, the second stringers, But I believe overall, I think the Packers might win by at least like 3 points, maybe 5. 7 is too much. I would say just 3 points. I say probably be like a field goal game, just like how the Atlanta game when they only lost by 1. The next game's Colts and the Ravens. At this point, I think Anthony Richardson, I don't know what's his status update for the week. I know they're going to try and get him out there. If not, it'll probably be Gardner Minshew at quarterback against the Ravens. The Ravens are pretty looking nice. They're 2-0. Lamar's looking like Lamar, probably MVP. Maybe MVP talks with Lamar. I say Ravens take this game. Probably they're at Baltimore. I say the Ravens take this one. Next game we got is the Titans and the Browns. That's a weird game. Titans Browns. Yeah, just Ryan Tannehill with Derrick Henry against Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson. I don't know the status update on Amari Cooper. I know he's not playing tonight against the Steelers. If Deshaun Watson can probably get Amari Cooper back, I would say maybe I would lean with the Browns. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans upset the Browns, maybe like on a late field goal, just like how they did against the Chargers. But in my overall opinion, I would go with the Browns this week. And then next game, Broncos Dolphins. I'm not even gonna talk about the Broncos. Just give me Dolphins all the way. So screw Russell Wilson. He should just retire already. Next game we got is Panthers Seahawks. Panthers are actually struggling right now, especially with Bryce Young. The overall number 1 pick. His offensive line's not looking pretty good. Before the episode, I just saw that was it Jamal Williams? No, and I forgot who was the running back for. Oh no, Jamal plays for the Saints. No, sorry about that. Yeah, no, I don't really see the Panthers beating the Seahawks, especially because the Panthers have to go to Seattle. That's a big. How can I say it? That audience is way too loud. It's gonna be too hyped up. They're gonna be at home, Seattle. I say Seattle sneaks in that win next week. I would say maybe they'll probably win by like a touchdown, maybe 10, depending how the Seahawks are gonna be playing. If they played good against the Lions in that overtime thriller that they went on the road. So I feel like they should have some pretty good confidence coming in with the Panthers coming in town. And then Patriots Jets. Yikes! I don't know. I feel like the Patriots might beat the Jets. Like I said, no Aaron Rodgers. I saw yesterday at the Cowboys game. I saw a couple of Jets players were getting hurt left and right. I mean, it's just a big disaster in New York right now, especially with all the media attention going on with the Jets. I see the Patriots winning this. They'll probably get their first win of the season. And the Jets have to figure something out, because if you're down 1-2 going into week 4, and then it's not looking pretty good, and especially with all these primetime games. So just a quick explanation of what a primetime game is. So a primetime game is any game that's 3 o'clock or 7 o'clock or even Monday Night Football. Those are called primetime games. So only the top tier teams get the advantage of playing primetime games. Just like the Chiefs, like the Bills, the Packers, the Vikings, teams like those, they get that privilege to be on prime time. So that prime time is basically when there's that game is specifically focused for the majority of the U.S. It's gonna be on national TV like CBS, NBC, ESPN, whatever primetime game they have. So I see the Patriots winning this one, and then the next one, Bills Commanders. I don't know. I don't know if I should ride the Commanders again. I don't know if I should hit up Jesus to hey, I got the Commanders. What's up? You got the Bills, which is actually funny because the Bills are actually heavy favorite to beat the Commanders. But they're gonna be they're going to Maryland. They're gonna be at the Commander Stadium. I mean, maybe the Commanders can pull it off. Not so sure. This game, I personally might put in I might put in a couple dollars on the Commanders. Don't take this as advice. Maybe the Bills can come in and kill them, murder the Commanders. But like I said, each season is different. You don't know how these teams are gonna be playing. But I'll take the Commanders on this one personally. Next game going on, Falcons versus Lions. The Falcons are looking pretty good, especially Bijan Robinson, that running back. I believe I mentioned that one of the previous episodes that he was going to look pretty good. I would say Lions. I say they bounce back from that overtime loss against Seattle. I say the Lions. I say I'll go with the Lions on this one. Next game we got going on is Texans Jaguars. I'm gonna be jagging off with the Jags this Sunday, so it's gonna be a lot of jag offs. I'll be going with the Jags on this one. Chargers Vikings. This one's actually a pretty ugly game because both teams are 0-2. But it's gonna be in Minnesota. Oof. I honestly feel this game might go to overtime, maybe, because both quarterbacks are pretty good. Justin Herbert and Kirk Cousins, with especially with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Justin Jefferson and Alexander Madison. I can see this game going on a shootout, a big high scoring game. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's whoever's going to have the better defense. And I feel like the Chargers have, on paper, they have the better defense. But, you never know. So I'll be going with the Chargers with this one. They'll probably be, the Vikings are going 0-3. And then we got a big slaughterhouse game of the week. The Cowboys are going to the Arizona Cardinals. I personally think the Cowboys might blow the fuck out of the Cardinals. I say they blow them out by at least by I would say 30-7, just like how they did with the Jets. I believe they put up another 30 pointers against another, bottom tier team. I mean, I'm just gonna go with the Cowgirls at this point. And then the next slaughterhouse game of the week, the Bears are going to Kansas City. And you do not want to play Mahomes in Kansas City because he will rip you apart. And the funny thing is about little quick fun fact is that the Bears actually traded, I believe they traded down draft picks in 2018 or I believe it was 2016 or 2018. I forgot. It was one of those 2 years that they passed on Patrick Mahomes. So imagine Patrick Mahomes as a Chicago Bear. Just imagine what the Bears could have been if they had Mahomes, if they would have not drafted Mitch Trubisky. I say the Chiefs blow out the Bears. I would say a good maybe 40-20, maybe the Bears don't get no points next Sunday. I mean, Bears are probably looking at 0-3. Sunday Night Football, we got Steelers-Raiders. That should be an interesting game. It's going to be in Vegas. Raiders' first home game of the season. I would say maybe, with Devontae Adams probably out. Hell, I don't know what's the injury update on him for this week. I say maybe the Steelers come into Las Vegas and, probably beat them by a touchdown, maybe a couple field goals. I'll be riding with the Steelers this week. And then we got 2 doubleheaders from Monday Night Football again. We got the Eagles and the Buccaneers. Eagles, these past 2 weeks, the Eagles, they've been looking, their offense isn't looking that Super Bowl like how they were last year when they were, killing teams. I say the Eagles pull off another ugly win against the Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. My prediction will probably be maybe 35-30. It'll probably be it'll probably go down the wire. I see the Eagles pulling it off in the last couple minutes or so. And then we got the LA Rams going to Cincinnati Bengals. Like I said, the Bengals, the second consecutive year that they start 0-2. And then, like I said, just miraculously, they just start winning and winning and winning. I feel like the Bengals bounce back next Monday, and they get their first win of the season. So, yeah. And also, every Thursday around 5, 6 o'clock, me and Manny, we're going to be choosing the winners or who we think they're going to be winning each week. So you can look out for that on the Facebook post. I got to send Manny the week 3 schedule, and we just basically pick the winners, and then we just show our opinion, or we predict who do we think that are gonna win. I think I don't know. I gotta check who's actually doing pretty good. I know week 1. I believe week 1 I beat him a couple games. I had a couple upsets. Week 2 I gotta double check on that week 2. But it's just a little game we're gonna be playing, just between me and Manny. But I mean, if people want to get involved with that, you can just let me know. Be like, hey, I want to get in, or you can comment on our Facebook post and be like saying like, hey, like, I don't know, throw some gambling advice or something. But like I said, we'll be doing that each week. We'll be choosing our predictions. Like I said, we're not professional analysts. We don't really this is just our based opinion about who do we think that's gonna win. Obviously, there's always upsets. We really can't predict the upset. I think the only upset that I like for this game, maybe the Titans beat the Browns. That's a nice upset. Steelers beating the Raiders, another nice. I think my game of the week, the upset, will probably be the Chargers going into Minnesota and beating the Vikings. I feel that's a nice, pretty upset of the week. Like I said, there's always one or two upsets each week, but I'm gonna be riding with the Chargers as my upset with the Vikings. So yeah, that's it for NFL. We're going to our last segment before we end this episode. I want to shout out again OCMG in the back. We're gonna be editing this whole week. We're gonna be putting in them hours. We're gonna be sleeping till 4 a.m. trying to get all these videos up. We're gonna be doing our best to get them on Apple Podcasts too, so that way people can start listening when you're going to the gym. Trying to waste some time at the office, or you just don't want to hear your boyfriend or girlfriend arguing, so you just plug in that AirPod in, and you're just listening to us while you're getting bitched at for some reason. But yeah, we will be uploading that pretty soon. Hopefully this week hopefully the next week or two we'll be getting all the episodes in, so you guys can catch up. Also on the YouTube page. Remember, we're also going to be raffling one of our tournament soccer jerseys, so look out for that during the week. I'm going to be more socially active on the Instagram page, and I'll be running that more and more and more. Just look out for any posts, any funny videos we're going to be uploading. I'm going to do my best to get that Instagram page actually work, so we get followers. I know Facebook is the one where we have majority of the followers. So I want all those followers from Facebook going in onto Instagram, because we want to get our numbers up, and we can only do that for the help of the audience, which is you guys. So hopefully that you guys can share, and subscribe to the podcast. And before we end this episode, we're gonna go on with the pet peeve of the week. I feel like my pet peeves are always the same. It's always about fucking traffic, always about all these nasty drivers around. I don't know. I haven't had a pet peeve in a week. I'm trying to think of a good pet peeve. How about you, Juancho? You have any pet peeves that you want to share with the audience?
I have a lot of pet peeves.
Just throw me one.
I guess one that happened recently is that when you schedule someone to come do a recording or do whatever, and we're like, okay, tomorrow at so-and-so time. Cool. Then tomorrow comes, and then they're like, oh, well, you never confirmed. You never said it was for real, for real. Oh, my God. Jesus Christ. That's a big pet peeve.
Shout out Manny for that one. Nah, but yeah, pet peeve. Shit, the fucking Cubs. They're a pet peeve right now. They're pissing me off. Playing like fucking pussies out there. That's my pet peeve. Oh, and also, I don't know why, but I'm 0-5 watching the Cubs. I saw them lose. I haven't seen them win. That's my pet peeve of the week. I want to see wins. How is it that I go see them lose, and the next day they win? Come on, man. Now they're just fucking with me. They're just fucking with me with that one. But yeah. Before we end this episode, remember, share, like, and subscribe to the podcast. Remember, another shout out to Compa Juancho in the background with the cameras, OCMG. Stay beautiful, Chicago, Compa Shorty. And remember, if you're not following Hot Sports Podcast, then what the fuck you're doing, baby? Woo!
Hour and a half.
Damn.